What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the videos. Today we got a lot going on, but in this video I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the process of doing mainly the passenger side motor mount on these Chevy trucks. This applies to like the Chevy Silverado, Chevy Tahoe, Chevy Suburban, GMC Sierra, probably the Yukon, anything with the 5.3 motor in it. Anyways, we're doing it on this truck today. It's a 17 Silverado. We're gonna start by getting it up, getting it on jack stands on the frame rails, getting the front wheels off. I'm gonna do both at the same time. So we're gonna get both front wheels off, get the fender liners out, and then I'll show you guys mainly the passenger side, maybe a little bit of the driver's side, but there are tons of videos on the driver's side out there. So I'm not gonna go into super detail on that side, but there's not a lot on passenger, so I figured I'd show you guys a little bit of that. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now that we've got the vehicle on jack stands and we've got both the wheels off, we're gonna take off these inner fender liners on both sides. Just need a couple, it's just a couple, I think T15 Torx screws all around the fender liner. And then we will be able to pull this out and I'll show you what to do next. All right, now that we've got that off, we can get access to the exhaust heat shield, and motor mount is right there. So let's get this heat shield off. It's just a couple 10mm bolts. Let's get that off. Next, there are 3 bolts in there. One is right there, one is right there, and one is right there. Those are 15mm bolts. Before I jack up the engine or anything, I'm going to take those out on both sides. Other side you guys should be able to figure out based on other videos, but I'm going to go ahead and take these 15 mils out and do the same on the other side so we can jack up the engine, and then we'll work on the other bolts. Cool. So I have all 3 bolts out from the frame on this side. That's the driver's side. And all 3 bolts out from passenger side on the frame. The motor mounts are still bolted to the engine, but what I'm going to do next is get a block of wood, put it on the jack up from the oil pan so I can lift the engine up as high as I can, and we will be able to hopefully access those bolts that are holding the mounts to the engine a little better, and hopefully be able to slide the mounts out this way a little better with the engine jacked up as high as I can get it. That's why I prefer to do both sides at the same time, because you can unbolt all of it and get the engine a little bit higher than you normally would if you were just doing one side at a time. So let's get the engine jacked up. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so this is probably the hardest one. The top 2, there's a 15mm bolt up in here, top left corner, 15mm bolt, top right corner, and I got both of those with basically this setup right here, a deep well 15mm socket on a swivel-headed 3/8 ratchet, and then the bottom left corner I got with the swivel head ratchet. I went underneath, under here. Oh no, I take that back. I used that. I used a gun with a very long extension and a swivel-headed 15mm, and I went in from the bottom down here and like right in here, and I went straight up and got the swivel head on that. Make sure it's firmly placed on the head of the bolt, so when you start to impact or whatever, you don't round the bolt off, because that would really suck to try and extract that here. But anyways, if you don't have an impact, you can also use the extension with that same setup, but just with a ratchet. And then lastly, the bottom right hand corner, I came through the front here, right under the AC compressor. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, the light's on it. It's back in there, literally right there under the AC compressor, right there. And just use the same setup. This 3/8 drive ratchet, swivel head. The swivel head isn't necessary. A fixed head might be a little better. And then a deep socket 15. So let's get that last one out and we'll see what we can do about getting the motor mount out. Cool. Moving right along. I really wish I had somebody else here to film so I could have showed you guys kind of what I did. But I did end up taking the starter out. I took all the wires off of it so that they weren't kind of rat's nest under the motor mount here. I tucked all the wires to the side or over here or just out of the way. I also took the retainer off the brake line, pulled the brake line down as much as I could, and I rotated the motor mount basically so that it was in there like that, and I pulled it out this side as much as I could, and then I pried it up to get it past the bottom part of the mount and then pulled it out. The biggest issue is this guy. I know a lot of people, and even the book says you have to take the exhaust manifold off, but as you guys can see right there, somebody has already broken off an exhaust manifold stud. So I did not want to mess with that because you can see how rusty and nasty those are. So I really didn't want to do that. So I managed to get it out. Now let's struggle bust the new one in here, get it into place, and start some bolts. Before I get too far and frustrated with the other side, I'll show you guys. New engine mount is in. It's not bolted to the frame yet because I'm working on the other side. Starter's back in and everything's plugged back in. I did take out that ground, so make sure to plug that back in. I need to put the clip back in this guy, and this side will pretty much be buttoned up until we're ready to lower the engine down again. So let me show you the other side and we will continue along with this project. Other side will hopefully be a little bit easier. So far, access isn't as great to the bolts on the sides. And of course, these bolts in here have coarse threads, and I'm not sure why, but they are really tight all the way out, even when you break them loose. So it is one little 1/16 of a turn at a time. Don't get frustrated. You know, take your time, take breaks, get those 4 screws out. I was able to get one out. I think the top one, yeah, the top right, I was able to get out with a gun. For the top right one, I just got my 2 extensions, went in with a wobble and got it out with a gun. Unfortunately, the bottom one is at too much of an angle, so I can't get my extensions in there, so I'm having to do it by hand with a ratchet. It is very slow going and very frustrating. Not a lot of room to swing your ratchet. My arms are in a lot of pain, so I'm already frustrated, but I'm sure you guys can figure it out. Like I said, there's a lot of videos on the driver's side, so I won't go into too much detail. But let's get these 4 bolts out, and I will show you guys pulling the actual mount out of the car. This side should come out a lot easier. There's a lot more room. So let's knock this side out. Okay. So for the lower left one, you can either get it from above the subframe cross member in the front. It's not going to focus, but you can see the motor mount there, and it's the bottom left one. You can get it from the front somewhat easily, but what I did, I used my good old extension setup, and I went right in under here, basically right in here, up through here, with my long extension and the wobble, And I kind of looked from up here, lined it up with my left hand, and used my right hand down here on the gun. And like I said, if you don't have a gun and impact, it might be easier to go up here from the front or with a long extension down here and get it placed and hold it in place with your left hand and crank on it with your right hand. But this motor mounts out. Let's go ahead and pull it out. This side should be much easier, but I'm not 100% sure, so let's see. Sorry, my filming skills with one hand are not that great. So let's wiggle it out to the right. This motor mount's destroyed, so just got to get it past that stud down there, that alignment dowel. It's really the only hard part. I will mess with this with both hands, and I'll come back to you, let you know how I did it. Okay, that was pretty quick. I just smashed it forward. I took the whole thing and rotated it forward, then slid it out to the right a little bit, and then up, and then back over, and then I'm just gonna slide it out the top. Pretty simple on this side. Alrighty, passenger side's back in. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but the bolts are started. I'm gonna come from up here and tighten them down with a couple long extensions. I got the driver's side back in. It's in there, bolts are started. It's really just a combination of extensions, wobbles, universal sockets, stuff like that to get all those bolts tightened and everything, and a lot of cussing and stuff like that. So those are all in. We're gonna get these bolts tightened, then we're gonna put the heat shields back on, and we're pretty much done. We gotta put the steering shaft back on right here, and we can button it up. But everything's back in. This side was really difficult. The old mount came out pretty easily because it was destroyed. So this side I had to twist it forward and use a pry bar and shove the alignment dowel past the frame to get it back into its spot. So just try not to get frustrated. It will take a little while, a little effort. You will have to smash it back into place, bend those heat shields and everything, and get all your bolts tightened, and then you're pretty much good. I think that's gonna do it, so let's close it out. Okay, everything's buttoned up. The exhaust manifold, the heat shields are back on. All the wires are tucked back into place. The inner fender liners are back on. The bottom splash shield's back on. What else? The steering column, the steering shaft is back on. Wheels are torqued down. Pretty much everything's good to go. So we're gonna take it for a test drive, and we'll close this one out. There's the doggos for tax. Come here, Bandit. Bandit. All right, guys. Anyways, we're done with the job. I took it for a test drive. Test drive went really well. So hopefully this process helped you guys. I know it's not the most visually explaining video that you guys have probably ever seen, but hopefully my steps involved help you guys out to try and wiggle those motor mounts back in, get as much clearance as you can, all the above. If it did help you guys, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I do how-to content all the time, and content on my race car and my girlfriend's Turbo Forester, so stick around on the channel. Like I said, if it helped you guys, let me know down in the comments, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.